last, the wheel comes full circle.
I don't want to leave. Hey guys, it's Lily, and today I'm going to be doing a That Book review on Clockwork Princess. It was so good! On Goodreads, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and for a letter grade, I'm going to give it an A+++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++ plus. Oh my god, it was so good, I can't even. This book pulled my heart in so many directions. First, I was reluctant because this is the last book. This is going to be the end of Will, Tessa, and Jem together. It's going to be the end of Charlotte. It's going to be the end of Henry, Sophie, Gabriel, Gideon. All of them. It's going to be the end of them together in this story. And I'm so happy that I'm finally caught up with Cassandra's books. And as much as I was ambitious to complete all her books, I'm sad because it's the end of TID and TMI. I know TID is just beginning, but it's not going to be Jem, Tessa, Will. It's not going to be Clary, Jay, Simon, Izzy, and Alec, just in their separate worlds. But I have to. I have so many other books to read. I have to, but I don't want to. Leave me here. I like barricaded myself with a wall, protecting my heart so much. And none of that worked because by the end, it was just emotion. And I felt a lot of other things like sadness, happiness. It was very bittersweet. It was so many things.
I'm writing a book myself right now, and plot is the biggest challenge for me. And I bet it is for a lot of authors, but plot for me is really, really challenging, and my inspiration is definitely Cassandra Clare. Just everything about her plot is perfect. There is never a mistake. There's never a plot hole. Like, I fear plot holes when I write my own book.
Everything Cassandra's books just come full circle. I mean, the freaking last line of this book. Let me read it to you. And I also used this quote in one of my Instagram posts. I should probably put it right here. The quote is, and it's just so simple and hits you so hard.
At last, the wheel comes full circle.
The end was so perfect. It's, oh, I can't say. If I keep going on, I'm just gonna spoil you, so I'm just gonna hop into the spoiler section now. Okay, let's get on with this because I have so much to tell you guys, and normally I have a plan written out and all like topics and all that stuff, but I'm winging it today. So first we start off with this scene. It's the prologue, and it's Starkweather and his granddaughter Adele. And when I first read it, I was like, why is Starkweather such an important existence in this book? And he wasn't really mentioned until like kind of towards the end, but I was just like, why is he here? So it wasn't until Starkweather kind of did his own little looking into Adele that was in the prologue was actually a sickly mundane who was switched with his actual granddaughter, which is Tessa's mom. And we also find out that a shadow hunter and a demon can have a kid if the shadow hunter is unmarked. So that's how Tessa came about. When I was reading it, I was just so disgusted at Mortimer. He did all of this just so that he could, one, reproduce with her, and two, get the information from his father that he needs to connect the automatons with like demon life or whatever. He's so disgusting. So then now we know that Tessa's a warlock. I mean, I already knew because of the Shadowhunters TV show. Thank you very much. I kept trying to not believe that she would live forever because she's immortal, because I wanted her to live and grow old with Will. And it just broke my heart so bad in the epilogue when Tessa was talking about her life with Will and how even though he grew old into an old man and Tessa stayed the same, and it was just so sad. And then all the good things that happened. His death was so sad. Tessa was holding one of his hands and had her head on his shoulder, and then Jem held the other one, and then he looked at them both, smiled, and then died. When I got to the epilogue and it said 2008, I was like, oh my god, I don't want to read this. I want to leave off with him showing his parents Tessa, because I wanted to leave off there, but I forced myself to read it because I knew I had to, and I knew it would probably make everything a little better. And I read it, and going into it, I was literally tearing up. She was just describing her life with him, and I just feel at peace knowing that she actually loved him. You know, after she kind of gets together with Jem, they don't get married, but they travel the world together, and who knows, they'll probably end up getting married later. I was okay with it because I was at peace knowing that Tessa actually loved Will, and that she wasn't just going from one to another. She actually loved him, and she loved Jem equally, which is something that's really different, and I didn't want to accept at first, but then in the end, he finds out that Will loves her, and he steps back, and he decides to live and stay to fight, but he becomes a silent brother, and their life is super lonely.
They walk alone, they eat alone, they wake up alone.
And it's just a lonely life, and they gotta give up their good looks, and I'm sure that Jem has good looks. He can't have any personal possessions, he can't go by Jem, and just reading it wrenched my heart the same way it wrenched for Will. And both these two guys are so good. When he came to cut off his ties with Tessa, wrenched my heart even more. But what hit me even harder was him cutting off his ties with Will.
Like an echo of his thoughts, a shadow fell across the doorway. Will looked up and nearly dropped the knife he was holding. Jem, he said, "Is that you, James?" "Who else?" Jem's voice. "But," he said, "you're here to see Tessa." Jem looked at him levelly. His eyes were gray-black, like a slate shot through the streaks of obsidian. "And you did not think I would take the chance, whenever the chance I could, to see you too? I did not know. You left after the battle without a farewell." "How could I say farewell," he said, "to you?"
And then they have this whole, like, Jem wants him to watch over his violin, which he does, which we read in the epilogue, and how he gave Will the box, meaning...
"It was not always a box that held my drugs. It was my mother's. Kuan Yin is the goddess depicted on the front. It is said that when she died and reached the gates of paradise, she paused and heard the cries of anguish from the human world below and could not leave it. She remained to aid the mortal when they cannot aid themselves." "What if I can't?" Will whispered. "I don't even know how to be a shadow hunter without you. I have only ever fought with you by my side." Will stepped forward, and this time Will did not move to discourage him. Jem put his fingers under Will's chin, forcing Will to look directly at him. His touch was cold. Will bit at his lip. This was the last time Jem might ever touch him. The sharp memory went through him like a knife, of years of Jem's light tap on his shoulders, his hand reaching out to help Will when he fell down. Will's own hands on Jem's thin shoulders as Jem coughed blood onto his shirt. "Listen to me. I am leaving, but I am living. I will not be gone from you entirely, Will. When you fight now, I will be still by you. When you walk in the world, I will be the light at your side, the ground steady under your feet, the force that drives the sword in your hand. We are bound, beyond the oath. The oath did not change that. It merely gave words to something that existed already." "But what of you?" said Will. "Tell me what I can do, for you are my parabatai, and I do not wish you to go into the shadows of the Silent City alone. I have no choice, but if there is one thing I could say of you, it is that you be happy, and if you wish to marry Tessa, then do not let the memory of me keep you apart."
Oh, I don't know. So sad. When I found out what Jem was going through to become a silent brother and how lonely he was, I wanted him to have a happy ending too. Cassandra made me love them both. Because in Clockwork Prince, I didn't like Jem because Will was suffering. But in this one, he suffers too. And I realized that he loves Will. And when they're talking and Jem finds out that Will loves Tessa, we found out that Jem would have stepped back too. And this just shows how equal they are. Cassandra, I don't know how she does it, but her plot structure is so good. She hints what's gonna happen in City of Heavenly Fire in this book, and she manages to somehow cliffhanger us. Like, what? And also, like, perfectly put in place that Tessa's a warlock, so then Tessa can be with Will and Jem. Everything falls in place. Everything is perfect. I don't understand, like, the brain work that goes into this. So when the letters first began with Consul Wayland, I was confused because I really liked him in Clockwork Prince. He was a good guy. He backed Charlotte against Benedict, but in this book, he's like saying things how she'll mess things up. Once in a letter that he crossed out, he confessed how she's gonna take over his reign and he's not gonna be remembered for his time. And he wants her out of the Institute, and how he only put her in power because he thought he could control her. And how he uses the Lightwood brothers to spy on Charlotte. What? And I was literally the happiest person in the world when his head got chopped off. He deserved it. Like, he deserved worse. He deserved a slower death. So in this book, I realized that she points out ducks a lot, and I think maybe she was trying to confirm that Jace and Will have this weird dislike for ducks. When Tessa's describing her life with Will and how their first son was like commenting on how ridiculous his dislike of ducks was, Okay, so in the beginning of the book, the first kind of conflict is Benedict Lightwood, and his demon pox went crazy, and he became a worm. Well, a demon worm. And I love the back and forth dialogue between Gabriel and Will.
Gabriel was like, he's a worm, father's a worm. And Will was like, yeah, like we already knew that. We're late to the party. And he's like, no, listen to me, he's a worm.
This fight is literally epic, and it was really, really long. I had my issues with Gabriel in the previous books, but I knew that he would come around, and I just loved his character development in this book, and I love how Cicely kind of helps him through it and helps him grow. And one of the most heart-touching moments of Gabriel was when he kind of steps forward and he tells Charlotte that he kept spying on Charlotte for Consul Wayland, who I hate, even after he and his brother decided not to anymore, but he continued to. But I loved how Charlotte was like, well, did you send it? And he was like, no, I couldn't bring myself to it. And my heart felt like it was, I'm so proud of him. Like, that's what I was talking about in my City of Lost Souls review. I said how I liked Sebastian and I wanted him to stay changed, and I liked him when he was like the human Sebastian trying to be a brother and a son. That I liked him because I wanted him to change, and this is what I meant, and this is what I wanted to feel with Sebastian. At least I felt it with Gabriel. I'm so proud of him. And Gabriel and Cicely, I love their relationship. When they first meet, Gabriel sees Cicely throwing knives and he says 5.
Your skill and technique may perhaps require work, but the native talent is certainly there. What you require is practice.
And then when they finally kiss, Cicely says to him 5, and he's like, what? And then she says the same thing back. Everything in Cassandra's books come full circle. I'm glad that he didn't break his trust that he had with Cicely, because, you know, earlier she said that she has faith in him, and I'm glad that faith came through, and I just love them together. Talking about them together,
I always take off this thing when I read because I don't like it when I read, and I saw it and it's a family tree. I felt a lot better because right here it says William Herondale, line, Tessa Gray, and they have kids, so that put me at ease. But the Jane Carstairs, my heart broke when it was just him all alone. But because there's no number after that, that means that the spoiler for Brother Zachariah was true. I knew that before I went to the book, so when Jem died the first time, I wasn't like sad. I was waiting for him to come back. And then I also saw Cicely Herondale and Gabriel Lightwood, and I was like, yes, 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 yes! And I literally stared at this family tree for 20 minutes.
Sophie ascended, which I'm so glad and happy for her. I love Sophie and Gideon. They're so cute together. And it was so sweet when he was just ordering scones just so he could have some time with her. In this book, I got a new kind of respect for Charlotte. She's such a leader, but so motherly at the same time. She's like the perfect woman. And I love how she's breaking barriers in this world, and I love how she's able to rise above everything. And Henry is just adorable as always and brilliant with his inventions. And Magnus with Henry and how he appreciated Henry's inventions and really made Henry feel like he's brilliant, because he is. He created the sensor and created the portal, which they use a lot in TMI, and how he comforted Tessa when Will died and she fled to Paris. I love Magnus. And Magnus gave Will the necklace that was for Camille that senses demons and that Izzy has in TMI, and it was just hilarious how Will was wearing a woman's necklace. The night when he was going after Tessa, he gives the necklace to Cicely. Everything Cassandra's books just come full circle. If you didn't already know, I'm a Wessa shipper, and when I read this, it's on page 33, my heart just crumbled.
As they moved forward, the heel of Tessa's shoe caught on one of the loose bits of gravel underneath the hedges. She stumbled and immediately rightened herself, but Will glanced back and scowled. Tessa, he said. There had been a time when he had called her Tess.
That just wrenched my heart out of my chest once he called her Tess, and I loved it when he called her Tess. But thank God there are moments in the book when he does and just brought life back into me and fixed my little heart. But obviously Cassandra broke it like 10,000 other times after it came all back together. Oh, and then there was that section when Will, after the fight with Lightworm, he kind of like has an attack, and Will brings him into a carriage, and he's kind of like not great, and Will's like there for him, and then Tessa comes, and then Jem starts speaking to her in Mandarin, but I don't think Tessa like really heard it, so Will translates it, and something like, "Are you hurt, my love?" And when I first read it, I was like, Will, why would you say my love? And then I realized that he was translating it from Jem, and I was just like putting myself in Will's shoes. I would literally break, and Will is so strong. And Will, I love you. You're one of the best characters I've ever read.
And Will felt as if Jem's words were like 3 needle pricks inside his heart. Each needle prick had its own name. Guilt, shame, love. Always when Will did something to protect Tessa, Jem always thought it was for his sake.
And that was one of the things I hated Jem for in Clockwork Prince and sort of in the beginning of this book, because it just seemed so selfish. This just broke my heart too.
He only wished that she were still here. It was good to be here with Jem and Cicely and Charlotte, to be surrounded by their affection, but without her, there would always be something missing. A Tessa-shaped part chiseled out of his heart that he would never get back.
My heart broke 10,000 times over and over again for Will. We know that Jem had good intentions and he just really didn't know, which kind of bizarres me because they're parapetae and they feel what each other are feeling. They see their parapetae differently than everybody else does, and they're able to read their parapetae. Somehow they both were so blind when it came to Tessa. Maybe it's love. I'm sorry to all you Jem, Jessa lovers, but every single time I heard the word sword cane, I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, Cassandra, at least call it a seraph cane. I mean, sword cane. Like, in my mind, I just pictured Jem as an old man, you know, crippled, weak, and as much as I didn't love Jem in the beginning of the book, that doesn't mean I want him to have a weapon. So the Clockwork Angel necklace that Tessa has with her is synced to her life, so whenever she's dying, the angel will save her, which is definitely shown throughout the books. The necklace has like a part of an angel's soul that's in it, and we find out that the angel's name is Ahhhhhh. I probably said that wrong, but that's his name. And I'm 100% sure that that's the same angel that Valentine shackled in his basement. Gotta be more careful. I'm sorry, but I'm going back to the sword cane thing. When Jem becomes the silent brother, he has this whole back and forth with Will.
Will struck with his blade, slicing through the joined knees of 2 creatures. I like that stick of yours, he said. It's a staff. Jem swung out to knock another automaton sideways, made by the Iron Sisters, only for the Silent Brothers. Will lunged forward, slicing his blade cleanly through the neck of another automaton. Its head rolled to the ground, and a mixture of oil and vapor poured out of its dragging throat. Anyone can sharpen a stick. It's a staff, Jem repeated.
Well, it's an upgrade from a sword cane. So in the epilogue, we find that Jem is cured. Cassandra leaves us off with a cliffhanger, having Jem tell Tessa that it happened through a story of new Lightwoods, Herondales, and Fairchilds, and somehow manages to cliffhanger us. And I'm excited to find out how they find the cure and how he's kind of like freed. So in this book, I actually forgot that Tessa could change, because we don't really use it until like the second half, like the end of the book, where the first time she changes into the lady in the abandoned house to kind of like trick Mrs. Black, but it doesn't work. And the second time she uses it to defeat Mortimain when she changes into Ethereal. And she's like this humongous angel, and all she gotta do is grab Mortimain and squeeze the life out of him. Like, I want to do that. And the moment when I read that Mortimain said that once you kill Mortimain, then you kill all the Ottomans, I was like, you're stupid. The part when Mortimain proposes the deal to exchange Ying Fin for Tessa, I went through a few book reviews and everyone was against Jem throwing the Ying Fin, whatever it's called, into the fire, and him kind of like throwing Tessa's offer back in her face. But I think I would have done that too, because he gave up hope, and I've been through a lot of times when I've given up hope, but it was people around me that kind of helped me pull through. But I know that feeling when you lose hope and you're just not thinking straight, and I totally thought that it was natural. But just how Will reached into the fire with his bare hands to get the little packet, and how Tessa was so heartbroken because she was doing this to Will. She was inflicting this pain upon Will to not inflict pain on Jem. My heart just broke for Will at that time. My last 3 notes are all like little jokes that happen, and I don't really want to like say them right now because I want to reminisce in this beautiful sadness. But I'm glad at the end Cassandra kind of left it off with a little hope, saying that every year for 1 hour they would meet by the Blackfriars Bridge. It's a good way to end a sad conversation. I don't think I will ever be able to read or create a better person than both Will and Jem are. They are everything. I will always have you in my hearts as my favorite characters. Okay, let's get a little happy happy in there. I got 3 kind of jokey quotes that I wrote down. So this is Will after Jem's uncle comes with the sword blade dagger, and Will is outside talking to Jessamine, or the ghost of Jessamine, and then she leaves because Magnus comes out, and the first thing he says is,
"I should have known I'd find you out here, doing your best to turn yourself into an icicle."
and then he says that he's going to New York, and I'm like, New York. And the last 2 are from the witty mouth of Will.
"Miss Cicely," the maid gasped, and then her eyes went to Will. She clapped her hand over her mouth, turned, and bolted back into the house. "Oh dear," said Tessa. "I have that effect on women," Will said. "I probably should have warned you before you agreed to marry me."
And then
Will's dad asks, "And who's that gentleman?" Will's grin widened. "Oh, him," he said. "This is Cicely's friend, Mr. Gabriel Lightworm."
so Tessa's captured by Mortimer, or technically Mrs. Black, and this attack happens when Jessamine comes back from Silent City, or City of Bones. But it's sad that Jessamine died, but I think she's more at peace now, so that's good for her. And then, I don't know why when I was reading this, but I feel like Tessa was just standing there while all this happened, and she has the nerve in the beginning of the book to say, like, why won't you let me fight? But I don't think she was fighting at that time. But Miss Black captures her with some automatons, and Jem is running after the carriage. I was like, Jem, calm down. You're not going to catch up to this carriage. And that is kind of how he becomes like really sick, like the last attack. Another time my heart just fell apart for Will was when Jem died, and just how like the parabatai rune was like bleeding, and how he felt everything inside of him was just dying along, and just how he realized that Jem is dead. And then the fight with the wolves afterwards, how he just wanted to win at something. All his life he's just been struggling just with himself, with his love for Tessa, with keeping Jem alive. Everything he wanted to win at something, so that's why he was so crazy with those wolves, but it just broke my heart. But after all this heartbreak, Will and Tessa finally get together, and they get married together, and they have kids, and they have like a wonderful life. Besides the fact that Will was growing older than Tessa wasn't, which made my heart break even more. Like, Will. Why can't things just go perfectly for Will? I mean, I bet everything was perfectly fine with Tessa not aging, but it just would have been nice for them to age and die together. But we know without that she wouldn't end up with Jem. But literally pages 415, I think, 119 was literally what I've been waiting for throughout these books. And it was just like so sweet when she was like, don't tell me that you wouldn't regret it if our lips never touch again after this day if we die. And then Will just kind of goes crazy. I'm so happy for him. And I just love how Magnus is the one that wakes them up, and they're both naked in bed. I thought it was Mortimer, because she said that when Mortimer finds them in the morning, like, she asked Will what would he do to them. So I was like, ugh, it's Mortimer. But when it was Magnus, I was cracking up. I think that's it. I think that's all I can talk about. I don't know. Do you know what I really wish I did with this book? I wish that every single time I read I had a camera and I would just film whatever I was thinking. I'm 100% sure I missed like 50% in the book. Pretty sure there's so much more that I could talk about, and there is so much more. Like, I know there is more. I just can't think of it all. And I bet when I'm editing this I'm like, oh, should have said that, should have said that. But I don't know. Let's do a quick recap.
My heart broke 10,000 times for Will. My heart began to broke for Jem. I really got an understanding of Will and Jem's parabati, whatever it's called. I keep getting messed up because it's a stupid TV show. I finally get like a sense what the relationship really was, and page 506 to 508 really showed me what it was. The paragraph that Jem's telling him that he might not be here, but at least he's living, and he will always be by him no matter what, even if he's not there, and that just... And Tessa, how she equally loves them, and Gabriel and Cicely, their relationship is really good. Magnus is basically the perfect human being on Earth, or warlock on Earth. Henry and Charlotte's relationship was just amazing, and Henry's a brilliant inventor and Charlotte's a wonderful leader. Consul Whelan's horrible. Benedict Lightworm got his destiny. Bridget is super badass. I wish we got to know more about Bridget. Mortimer finally died, which, yes. This book overall was super bittersweet. All the heartbreaking moments of Jem cutting his ties with Tessa and then cutting his ties with Will, and Jem is cured by the people in TMI.
The only way I can describe it is that I really want to cry so bad and laugh too. It was so beautiful. My most favorite quote in this book that really sums up Cassandra, her writing, her books, is, At last, the wheel comes full circle. And that really describes everything here.
Things that come full circle are Tessa and Jem living longer so they could be together at the end, but Tessa and Will could be together first. Mortimer being linked to the automatons, meaning that if Tessa just squeezed the life out of Mortimer, so will all the automatons die. Cicely getting the necklace from Will, who got it from Magnus. That comes full circle into Izzy having it. The sword indicates that the Carstairs family will keep going, and that's where we get Emma, which is the heroine in Lady Midnight. Charlotte and Henry's child have the Fairchild last name, which comes full circle into Clary. In the beginning of the book, Tessa talks about how life feels like a book, and there's already a path it's supposed to take, and she feels like she's just dragging at the end of a carriage. And at the end, I think Will says to her, life is like a book, and there are 1,000 pages that he hasn't read yet, and he wants to read them with her. A Tale of Two Cities comes to play a lot, relating Will and Sydney. And Jem and the Curse comes full circle into City of Heavenly Fire. Everything just comes full circle.
I can't even. This is the best book ever. And I have a really, really good feeling I'm going to be saying the same for City of Heavenly Fire. And before I read this, I heard people raving on how Cassandra is so great at wrapping up series. And you know, a lot of us as readers are scared of final books because we're scared that it's not going to wrap up the way that we want it to. Allegiant. Champion. But Cassandra does such a great job. And me going into this, I was just like every other reader, really, really reluctant and scared that it wasn't going to be the way I wanted it to end. Even though I heard people saying it, I was still scared. I can't be mad at the ending. The ending is too beautiful to be mad at. That's all I have to say. I'm just going to end the video here. Have a great day, afternoon, wherever you are. Bye! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. For more of That Book Channel, be sure to subscribe to my channel. The button's right there. And follow me on Instagram, Bookstagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. Don't forget to check out the description. I always have some links in there and the music that I use. So if you're ever interested in the music, it's down there. It's also right under the subscribe button, so you can check that out there. And lastly, in about 2 seconds, my previous 2 videos will pop up, and you can watch those for more of That Book Channel. Thank you so much, and bye. Today I'm going to be doing the 5th episode of Mystery Unboxing. Let's open this thing. I'm really excited. This one's so much fun. Knew it. And now I'm going to do a little look at this and look at that. I'm going to be doing my magnificent May book haul plus wrap up plus TBR. Because I'm a good person, I don't like to exploit my freedoms that my mom gives me, but it comes a time where you just gotta buy books.